John Mara, you saw him at the very end, if you can even remember what was going on a few minutes ago, talking about the Giants not trading for Deshaun Watson. Now, first of all, somebody was trying to create this notion of Brian Flores and Deshaun Watson with the Giants, and I remember we may have texted about it on the PFT chain, like, no. The spider sense was telling me we're not pushing whoever it was trying to sell. No, because that stuff ends up sticking to us. We have to do at least a minimum level of BS detection, and we did, and we said, no, we're not going there. And it's clear the Giants aren't going there. Now, the salary cap excuse. I'm so sick of the salary cap excuse.
Right,
that is just a way for teams to hide behind, we don't want to do it for some other reason. Because you can make it work, especially Deshaun Watson's contract. It's a bargain. 4 years, $136 million. That's a bargain. Yeah, he's got a $35 million salary this year. You convert it to a signing bonus. You can make it work. The salary cap is BS. It's because of the PR problem they would have. Because remember, with the Josh Brown incident a few years ago and the body blows John Mara personally took for that one. They don't want to go down that path again. Not in New York. We've talked about it before on one of the shows. Can you imagine the back pages of the tabloids if they would trade for Deshaun Watson?
Well, yeah, and that's kind of why I almost liked a little bit of what John Mara had to say about that, because it was really not just the whole thing of, oh, well, it's not going to fit under the salary cap. But then he even then said, yeah, with all of those accusations against him, that's not something that we're going to pursue. So I don't think the salary cap thing is the only thing that would prevent them from going after Deshaun Watson. And it was good to hear him explicitly say that, as opposed to just, oh, well, the salary cap, And then we also heard him basically give a pretty good endorsement to Daniel Jones. And that also seems to be why they would not want to go after Deshaun Watson.
And we're about to hear that. But before we put a button on it, I just wish they would not throw in the salary cap thing because it creates a false impression. They can make it work. If they wanted Deshaun Watson, they would get him and they would make it work. They just don't want him. And it's primarily, if not exclusively, about the pending sexual assault allegations, because it would be a crap show in New York if they added him to the team. Now, here is John Mara, the owner of the team, and also new general manager Joe Schoen, not Shine as in go get your Shine box. Joe Schoen is the GM along with John Mara. Here they are talking about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I've looked at Daniel, and once the new staff gets in here, we're going to get together, offense coordinator, head coach, the entire staff, dive into the film as a group and look at what Daniel does best. And we're going to try to, allow him to put his best foot forward. So, again, I've looked at him. I know there's been, I wasn't here in the past, so I don't exactly know, what he was told to do. But I do know this. I know he's a great kid. He's been in this building the last 2 days. I've talked to him. There's not anybody in this building that has said a bad word about his work ethic, passion, desire to win. And I think you got to have those traits as a quarterback. And the kid has physical ability. He's got arm strength. He's athletic. He can run. So I'm really excited to work with Daniel. And again, when the new staff gets in here, we'll build an offense around Daniel to accentuate what he does best.
I want Joe and the new head coach to make that evaluation. We do feel that Daniel can play. We've done everything possible to screw this kid up since he's been here. We keep changing coaches, keep changing offensive coordinators, keep changing offensive line coaches. I take a lot of responsibility for that, but let's bring in the right group of coaches now and give him some continuity and try to rebuild the offensive line and then be able to make an intelligent evaluation of whether he can be the franchise quarterback or not. I have a lot of hope in Daniel. I know how badly he wants it. I know how the players feel about him. So we are certainly not giving up on him.
I agree with what was said there because, look, you have quarterbacks who end up in bad situations and then new coaches, new offensive coordinators, no blocking. We don't know how good he could be. He's got a decent set of physical skills. The one flaw that needs to be repaired above all others is the fact that he holds on to the ball for so long that he gets hit and he fumbles, and he has too many turnovers. So I guess the best way to spin it would be he's fearless in the pocket, and he's not afraid of getting hit. Yeah, the problem is he gets hit and the ball comes out. That's what he does best, unfortunately. Holds the ball so long, he gets hit and he fumbles. They can iron that out with the right coaching staff, and they're not ready to give up on a guy who's got a very reasonable salary. I haven't looked it up today, but I think it's about $4.35 million in total compensation for this year. They got to decide on the option for 2023, but based on what we just played, Myles, it sounds like Daniel Jones not only is their guy this year, Daniel Jones is their guy next year as well.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, once you decide to pick up that fifth-year option, it's fully guaranteed, and so it's going to be what's in the ballpark of probably 19, 20 million-ish. You know, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that's probably what it's going to be. And if you have a guy who's actually a good quarterback, that's a very, very reasonable salary for somebody like that. But I think, you know, when Joe Schoen's talking about we got to build the offense that accentuates what Daniel Jones does best, I don't know what Daniel Jones does best. I really don't. I mean, I think that he can run. I'm not sure what kind of throws he can make the best, because I don't see that we've been able to see him do a lot, you know, in terms of making good plays. Think about this year. He played 11 games. He had 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 3 lost fumbles. So that's 10 touchdowns and 10 giveaways. All right? That's not good. You don't want that 1-to-1 ratio. So I don't really know what Daniel Jones does best, because like I said, but if they can get an offensive coach in that's going to be creative, going to figure out what it is that Daniel Jones does best and then let him go do that, then I think they're going to be in good shape. But I don't really know that we know if Daniel Jones can be a viable quarterback going forward. So if they pick up the option, great. If they don't, I would understand why.
And look, I can't completely praise everything they said today. I have one nit to pick as it relates to what we just saw. And I'm going to be very professional about this. I would have preferred
2 weeks ago.
Can I continue? Are you done? I would have preferred.
I just want to make sure I get a word in.
That John Mara. Oh, and listen, as long as I don't bring up Baker Mayfield, I have a chance to talk. I would have preferred that John Mara wouldn't have talked today. There are occasions where it's appropriate for ownership to speak. At league meetings, March every year, maybe at the other ones where they're breezing through the lobby and the horde of reporters are chasing them around, or if it's on a league issue because he's heavily involved. I think that you want to send a message to New York that Joe Schoen is the guy who's going to speak for us, especially today. This is his day. Joe said everything that he needs to say, and he said it well. I don't need to speak today. I would have preferred that he not. And really, if you're going to run for cover when you think you're going to get booed at the Michael Strahan jersey retirement, I think you should flip that coin over and tap out on a day like today. Just because I think everybody's watching and everybody's sensitive, at least the people who get it are, to how much the Maras have a spoon in the stew. And John Mara just a couple of weeks ago was trying to convince us that they don't. This would have been a good way as a symbolic gesture, just to say this is about Joe. We trust in Joe. I would have preferred that.
Okay, but I mean, again, like 2 weeks ago, you were just talking about how bad they are. I mean, I don't know. I understand what it is that you're saying, but I think at the same time, it's like when the ownership hires somebody, you do want to hear from ownership about why they wanted to hire that person. So I kind of disagree with you on that.
But put him at the podium then. See, I think the fact that he spoke with a gaggle of reporters tells me he wasn't going to talk, but he ultimately couldn't. Lay off me, I'm starving. He ultimately couldn't eat the French fries. He had to have the French fries. Lay off me, I'm starving.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.